And we're live. What's up, everybody? After a few seconds of spinning, we're live everywhere in the world for episode 305 of This Week in Real Estate. I'm your host, yours truly, Ray. And this is the This Week in Real Estate podcast, T-Wire, if you will. And we are broadcast live today, Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. Zillow's big move and sales shrink. We are experiencing a little bit of shrinkage in the housing market. We're going to be talking about we got a lot of economic news today. We're also going to talk about the Super Bowl ads and see what you guys thought of the Super Bowl ads. We have two big-ish stories in the industry news, and then it's all economic stuff. So I appreciate all of you joining me today. If you're joining us live on YouTube, you could comment and I can display your comment and talk about you, or talk about your comment. There's Matt LaMarche, Atlanta Real Estate Advisor. He says, "Can't nobody hold me down, number one again, son." And then Olivier says, "We got to let you win at something because it sure ain't winning at golf." So there you go. Wait, Olivier, our Canadian reporter on the ground there, says we have 12-inch snowstorm today. Should be breaking news, and possibly a second one Sunday. Do y'all use inches up there, Olivier? I didn't think the Queen allowed y'all to do that. And he said
centimeters, but you have to understand.
Centimeters, okay. He said we're getting a 25% increase in snow. You're welcome. So thanks everybody for joining. If you're joining me on Instagram, you can comment. I see Lindsay. What's up, Lindsay? You can comment over there on Instagram, and I can. I'll read out your username if I can. Sometimes it's fast, and I will tell people what you've said. You can also comment live on LinkedIn and Facebook. We're everywhere today. Everywhere works. We're also on Twitch. Last time I was on Twitch and there was no comments over there, and I was trying to bring them over. But if you comment on Twitch, it does show up on the main feed here. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know if it would do that or not. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Matt LaMarche over on Instagram is matt.lamarche, says, "Canada? You mean North Dakota?" I'm not going to say that other word, Matt. Speaking of, let's take a look at Robert Reffkin. Only some of you on Instagram who are also watching the show would get that joke. So this is an interesting take. Robert Reffkin nods to Gary Keller in latest clear cooperation critique. Now, I thought this was interesting because this article was written by none other than Compass CEO Robert Reffkin. I guess he probably didn't come up with the title himself, because that's a funny self-title if he's like talking about himself in third person. But let's go through it. He says, "I've always appreciated Gary Keller's leadership in our industry. When many leaders were silent, he's been outspoken, saying things like NAR sold us out a long time ago. The thing that drives you absolutely crazy is trade association is not supposed to be in your business." That's my terrible Gary Keller impersonation. "As long as you have the right to your work product, you're okay. The second that an MLS or NAR or anybody decides that you can't decide on your own if you want Realtor.com to have it or Truly to have it or Zillow, then you've lost control of the industry. As long as it's your decision, we're good." Now, personally, this is taking an aside from Reffkin's opinion article. There's a lot of things I like about Gary Keller, and there's a lot of things I don't like about Gary Keller. One of the things that made me absolutely insane is when I was at a KW conference and he was on stage bad-mouthing Zillow and then taking their money to allow them to have a display at his conference. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you can't have it both ways. And that was back when Schwartz, what was his name? What's Schwartz? He's doing the lending thing now. Was it Gary Schwartz? It was back when he was one of the good guys over at Zillow, and always said if he left, it'd be like a canary in a coal mine. Then a couple of years later, he left. I just want to let me hear Gary's voice. Hang on. Awesome. And it changes, brought to our lives is amazing. Okay. All right, that's my Gary Keller impersonation. All right, so Reffkin goes on to say, I didn't fully appreciate the context of those quotes till NAR settlement when our industry collectively paid $1 billion for mandatory NAR and MLS rules. After such a public failure, I had thousands of agents ask the following question. So, and that don't have good answers. So here's the top 10 questions agents are asking Reffkin, and I thought a lot of us could relate with these. One, why did NAR MLS give our listings away to portals? Why won't the MLS let me write the listing description that I am the listing agent? What's up, D. Ludwood Rocks? KW still doing KW things, I see. He says over in on Insta. What's up, brother? Number two, why won't the MLS let agents watermark their own photos, but then the MLS watermarks them? Are y'all on a watermarky MLS? We are. The MLS will put their watermark on my photo. but I can't put a watermark on my photo. He goes on to say, to access the MLS, why am I forced to join and pay 3 different associations, NAR state and local associations? There are numerous lawsuits against NAR's 3-way agreement. Are the numerous lawsuits against NAR's 3-way agreement justified? Yeah, this is a big problem I have here locally. If I want to be in the MLS, I have to join the state and local and national boards. It's wild. How could maximum exposure equals maximum price be true, or the MLS study claiming homes sell for 17.5% more on the MLS be true, when most of the sophisticated and profit-driven sellers of real estate, developers, and home builders sold over 300,000 homes off the MLS last year? I don't necessarily agree with this one. It's going to be hard pressed for me to agree that additional exposure is not a good idea. I can't quite get behind it, saying, yes, selling a secret, you're going to get more money for the seller. I think there are different reasons why someone might want to sell, but and also the threat of exposure could make somebody put in a ridiculous offer, which is, one of the things I'm hoping to do now with the listing I have. But I can't say that maximum exposure won't help the sale of a property. I feel like it's kind of obvious. So I can't really get behind number 4. I see the point of number 4. I think there are different reasons to sell, but to tell me that you're going to get a higher price when you sell it off market, I don't know about that. You're telling me that you're going to get a higher price by not telling more people about the home. That doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. Why do real estate developers and home builders not have to follow clear cooperation when individual homeowners have to follow it? Now, that is a good question. How many homeowners are aware that clear cooperation forces them to give the MLS their listing after 1 day of any form of public marketing? Well, it says in our agreement. So everyone in Arkansas that has a listing agreement, they know because it says it in the agreement. There's also this place where you could say, don't put it online. And you can also write in that the property is not to be marketed publicly. So you can write that into the agreement, but it does say in the listing agreement. D. Ludwood Rock says pocket listings are only for the listing agent. Hot take, Dan. Going against the compass grain. Number 7, clear cooperation through the MLS was designed decades ago for agents who share their listings with agents and other brokerages. Why are agents now forced to cooperate with portals, companies without agents, listings, or clients whose business model is to sell leads, not homes? Why are buyer inquiries sold to the highest bidder instead of going to me, the agent who knows the home the best? Okay. It should be optional. It should be optional. However, there are a lot of listing agents that you can't get on the phone. I mean, my showing instructions have people text me. And if you call me, you won't get me. But if you text me, you'll be able to show that home really fast because the instructions say text me. And that's why I have your information so I can follow up. But if you call me, You're not going to get me on the phone. I'm in too much stuff. I'm in too many meetings. I'm doing a podcast right now. You can't call me, Matt. Good grief. Yes, you can go show. Just text me.
Yeah, but you're counting on me reading, which is another problem.
Whoops. I'm counting on you actually going to the MLS to look up the showing instructions now that the commission is no longer included in the MLS. I'm counting on you to do that instead of going to homes.com and finding my information and calling me from that website that doesn't have any information about the showing. It's terrible. Terrible. Why is the Department of Justice, the DOJ, investigating NAR's clear cooperation policy? Why did the judge in the lawsuit between DOJ and NAR, April 2024, say that the DOJ believes that clear cooperation policy restricts a home seller's choices and precludes competition from new listing services? I saw that the DOJ asked NAR to change clear cooperation to allow homeowners 60 days, not 1 day, to publicly list off the MLS. Why is NAR not doing what the DOJ asked? I feel like this is probably not a direct quote from an agent that's asking Reffkin this. I think this is probably Reffkin's question. I think he took some artistic license with the article saying, here are the questions that most agents ask. And number 8 is like, this is my question. Clearly. Yeah, I mean, this is a long question. Number 9. But it is a good question. If the DOJ says we can have 60 days, then why is it the MLS complying and giving us 60 days? Good question. That's a shorter version of the same question. But I feel like he had to give some context to the people that doesn't know what's going on with the DOJ. Number 9, my client asked not to have the price drop history and days on market on their listing. Why won't my MLS allow me to do what my client asked? Are there agents asking this question? I don't think that's, I mean, if you're going to have it out there publicly, you need to share the information. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Agents or clients?
They're making this stuff up. Like one person came up with this in a dream one night and said, hey, why isn't this? And assuming everyone else thinks the same way.
I mean, okay, so let's think about it. Let's take a step back. One of the reasons why we have a visceral reaction to number 9 is because this is the way it's always been. The way it's always been is public information. I need to know as an agent, how many days on market does this property have? How many times has it dropped in price? So as an agent, I'm thinking, well, that's the way it's always been. It is a legitimate question. Why has it always been that way? And should it continue to be that way? I think that's a legitimate question. What's up, Justin Benson? I see you over there. I see you. Why? I can't answer the question of why other than that's the way it's always been. And I don't think that's a legitimate answer, but that's what I feel like. It makes me feel better. My client asked not to have price drop history and days on market on their listing. Why won't my MLS allow me to do what my clients asked? So this is one that if it does change, will be way down the road because there's so many of us that are like, that's the way it's always been. This is public information. The public has a right to know. Do they? Do they have a right to know? Who says? There's nothing that says they have a right to know. It's a good question. But I also, as you can see, had that same visceral response. But when I thought through it, I can't answer it. Number 10. In response to questions like these, why does the MLS say, if you don't like our rules, then you don't have to be a member of the MLS? When they know agents can't do their job without MLS access, and rules like clear cooperation have prevented competition from any alternative listing system that could provide me with more than one single choice, my local MLS. That's a good question. What's the other option? If we said, yeah, I don't like these MLS rules, there's no other MLS that we could input it. And if there was an MLS, I don't know, like a PLS, the MLS goes after them hardcore and gets them shut down for violating rules of Realtor. And then he goes on to say there are too many questions like these that don't have good answers. NAR and MLS should remove mandatory rules like clear cooperation that lead to these concerns. Enforcing agents and their clients to do things they don't want to do is not a winning strategy. I agree with Robert on almost all of these. The one iffy thing is how could maximum exposure, number 4, how could maximum exposure equal maximum price be true? Or the MLS study complaining that homes sell for 17.5% more than the MLS be true. This study is flawed because every property is unique and you don't really know what the house would have sold for had it been on the MLS. You just don't know. When most sophisticated and profit-driven sellers of real estate, developers and home builders sold over 3,000 off the MLS last year. So let me give you a real easy answer for this, Robert. They don't have to pay real estate agents. You remember they used to have to put it into the MLS and then tell people, and I'll pay your real estate agent this month, this much. And they would have to hire a real estate agent in order to put it into the MLS as well. And in the last 3 or 4 years, with builders just being able to like clear the lot and sell the house, they didn't need it. But what you're going to find is as builders have a hard time to sell years down the road, they will come back and you'll see more agents listing those properties and more of them going into the MLS because they are profit driven and they know that it will work with additional exposure. But right now with such limited inventory, they don't need it. So they are profit driven. They don't want to pay a real estate agent. They are profit driven. They don't necessarily want those comps to show up on the MLS if they have to sell at a slight discount right now. So I don't necessarily agree with this take on 4. I think the correct take for going for off-market properties is that there are other reasons besides price to sell. And sellers, especially sophisticated sellers, may not want their stuff online. They may not want the home design. They may not want somebody to be able to generate a floor plan of the property. So there are other reasons to not putting your home on the market, on the MLS, and selling off market. You'd be hard pressed to tell me that price is one of them. Unless you like have the whole marketing package ready and you show the guy that's about to put in the offer, like, hey, if you don't put in the offer today, this all releases tomorrow. Boom. He puts in the offer. He wants it. He's afraid of other people getting it because of the additional exposure. And could there be some super high-end exclusives and things like that? Yeah, absolutely. I know there are designers that are not open to the public that you have to spend $100,000 every time you go and visit with the designer. I know that. So there are some markets like that, but that's 1% of 1%. All right. Any feedback on Reffkin's top 10? Do you guys relate or do you hate?
I think you're right. I think Mr. Reffkin is a little misled, maybe. AIDA, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action, has been around longer than Robert Reffkin has. So you got to get their attention with that number 4 thing. The only thing about number 9, though, it's just data, ultimately, I think. So by removing the days of on market or when it went on the market, when it was withdrawn, when it was relisted, like this to me is just like the compensation piece, regardless of what the compensation is, regardless of how many days that house was on the market before it was withdrawn, expired, whatever, is just another data point. And so if you want a true capitalistic market and meritocracy to take over, you have to give us more data. And the more data, the better our consumers do on both sides, by the way, not just one or the other. So I don't understand why you want to remove that. Like that seems very, I don't want to say predatory because that's the wrong word, but sketchy maybe. I don't know. What's the average day for a Compass listing right now? Maybe we should look at that.
That is a good question. Wish we could easily find it. I think I agree with your take. For the most part, I think that's right. You know what's interesting is I think you would have software developed that would go find this information. Just like you have the web archives. If a property hits Zillow, MLS, any of those things, and the client's like, oh, don't have that on there, then somebody's going to develop a thing that crawls the web and says this first hit the internet at this date.
Right. Yeah, you could do that, but you could also get something to crawl through the, county records and pull the sales.
Yeah.
Well, you can pull the sales, but you
algorithm
couldn't pull when it's like actually
how
live.
long? Right. Yeah. No, exactly. You would need both in order, because I don't know about y'all's counties, but ours are pretty terrible. It takes about 60 days for things to get recorded. So all you're going to see is the recording. That doesn't necessarily reflect any information that's valuable to influence. Unfortunately.
Yep. All right. So there's there's Reffkin's take, starting with the homage to Gary Keller. Does this mean that he kind of wants to put himself in the Keller category of, saying sensational things against the NAR and stirring it up? Kind of sounds.
Have to grow a mustache.
Oh man, I must ask you a question.
Or at least a goatee. I mean, some sort of facial hair.
Some sort. He may not can. Maybe one of those guys. Yeah, I don't know. No Shave November. Let's see. Somebody get Reffkin involved. No, I thought they were good questions. I think he's right to ask them, and I support 8 or 9 out of 10 of what he said there. Okay, Zillow. Zillow's making some big moves. They released their Q4 earnings, and they grew 25% on revenue. What? We're about to hear all the Q4 earnings come out. Revenue rose 17% year over year in the fourth quarter to $544 million. Zillow's residential segment, which includes Premier Agent Program, grew 11%. So even more of you guys are buying Zillow leads than you were. Revenue for Zillow's for sale segment, which includes mortgage and residential, increased 11% to $428 million. But the rental segment also spiked up, with multifamily revenues pushing the segment up 25% to $116 million. In addition to increasing revenue, Zillow managed to slim its losses during the fourth quarter. The company's net loss declined 28% annually to $52 million. Good job. Still trimming those losses, making how much? $544 million, trimming those losses. The results were reported today demonstrate how well we are executing and seizing our opportunity to transform the digitized residential real estate. With leading brand in our category and solid foundation for continued growth, we're excited to serve more buyers, sellers, and renters and real estate professionals this year. They're trying to create a delightful experience. He talked about all that they have there, the real estate, real-time touring, Zillow Home Loans, Premier Agent. Let's see. I can think of some examples in our financing solutions we launched earlier this year, something called Buyability, all one word, which is a buyer-controlled way to get personalized sense of what you can afford. It's a way to get a sense of your budget and start the approval process. If you're an agent, you talk to someone who's gone through Buyability, they're more educated, they are higher intent buyer. So your conversion rate on those types of customers go up. So really, you know how people are trying to create an all-in-one app? Zillow really does want to be the all-in-one place for real estate purchases. But the segment they're kind of turning some focus on to really dominate, it's the rental segment. And I don't know about y'all's market, but in our market, hardly anyone puts rentals in the MLS. There are some that do. But most of the time, those rentals go straight to Zillow. And that's where people shop for the rentals. So we get a lot of referrals from around the country and people moving here, and people are always like, can you help me find a rental? And in short, we don't really do that because there's $0 in it, but there's high risk. There's just not very much money in it at all. And they're not really going to be listed on the MLS. So you'll actually have a better chance of finding it if you just search Zillow. So unfortunately, we kind of let people handle that themselves. The for sale stuff is there, but not the rentals. It's all on Zillow. In an earnings call, Waxman said that the annual turnover in the rental market allows Zillow to connect with renters more frequently and get them into Zillow ecosystem, which includes our tour scheduling, lease signing, rent payment management. I wonder what percent of renters purchase, because I see this as a feeder for them for leads where they could get the renters into their system. And then once those renters are in their system, they start pushing stuff about purchasing, getting pre-approved with Zillow, buying your next home. And then they just have them wrapped up all in their ecosystem. Is this going to dominate real estate in the future? I mean, you can make a case. You can make a strong case for it. What's up, guys? These things exist in fragments offline in many, many places. And what a renter wants is a one-stop shop. And also, we've been doing that for the last, however many years. How many years? I want to know. I don't know. They also announced kind of a partnership with Redfin. Redfin has a fantastic audience of renters and buyers, so we can collaborate and partner on delivering Redfin audience, the Zillow audience, and the Realtor.com audience, who's a great rental partner with us as a broader set of audience to multifamily advertiser. So now multifamily advertiser can sign up for advertising, can reach all of those brands, all of those renters, and that really helps fulfill our mission. So instead of using a real estate agent to list those multifamily properties on the market, and by going through the MLS, it's syndicated in our market to 79 different sites that's then re-syndicated to thousands of consumer-facing websites. Instead of doing that, now the multifamily unit can just basically sign up and they have an MLS off of the MLS for rentals. How you guys feel about that? Although 2025 is shaping up to be a difficult year with concerns about tariffs, we're going to talk about the tariffs. Are there really tariff concerns? We're gonna get into it. I know Olivier is concerned about it, but everyone else. Housing starts and affordability. Waxman said Zillow's full year 2024 performance proves that the company can ride through the headwinds with flying colors. All right, so for their revenue grew 15% year over year to 2.2 billion, and their net losses for the full year decreased from 153 million to 112 million. The adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization increased from 391 million to 498 million. So like Q4, mortgage up 51%, residential up 10%, rental up 27%, for sale up 12%. So Zillow is no doubt here to stay. There were some people saying that Zillow is going to go out this year. And I thought that was a crazy take. And here you go. Now you can see in their numbers, it's a crazy take. There's another take from Broke Agent Media. I think they talk a little more about this Redfin deal. The Zillow Redfin partnership with Zillow now syndicating listings directly to Redfin. Renters will have more comprehensive apartment search experience in one place. For multifamily property owners, managers, listings will now automatically syndicate to Redfin, Rent.com, ApartmentGuide.com, greatly expanding their reach. Are you guys comfortable with that? Main house values. What's up, Rick? He says Zillow and Redfin collaborate. Should the DOJ look into that? I mean, by collaborating with that brokerage, those two brokers getting together and doing that, isn't that exclusionary with all the other brokerages that are out there? Shouldn't they just be putting them on the MLS? Don't they, because those brokers are listing those properties, don't they have one day to get them onto the MLS? Zillow's a broker. So's Redfin. That really kind of makes me wonder, like, how do they justify that? If they have a listing, they have to input that listing into the MLS. I guess they could say that it's not a listing. They're not representing the listing at all. It's just somebody putting it on their website. It's not them listing the property. Is that how they're getting around that?
What about reciprocity?
What about reciprocity?
Wouldn't it go the other way? If it's reciprocity for the listings from my broker to go out to other brokers and on their website, wouldn't it be the same for Zillow?
I think what they're going to say is they're not representing these people at all. So they're not.
Do you feel like there's like a back end contract that says that, you know, the day before this ends, we're going to go under contract with a listing?
Day
if you
before what
haven't sold
ends?
it? The day before this whole, you know, not having to comply with telling anybody and not putting it in the MLS and not like, don't you feel like there's just something else behind it that they're an agent's going to be right there helping them along the way, and then at the last minute step in with the listing and list it?
Well, so that's a good question. Let's think about this. There's no agent helping them. It's a form that they input their information in. It's a for sale by owner, basically, but it's a for rent by owner. Property managers can do that who work for the apartment complex. If there's a real estate agent that is doing it on behalf of the apartment complex, they have to have a listing agreement with that real estate agent, but that is not with Zillow. So they could take information and the seller can input that information just like a for sale by owner. And then that information is then sent to other websites. So I guess the comparison would be if on my website with an IDX feed, I also had for sale by owner listings, which I do because there are people that have input only listings and they just sign up and pay $500 and get their house in the MLS. And we chew them up on negotiation. So I love it, but it's not really the best for that seller. So that would be like me listing those homes on my IDX, which I do as long as they put it in the MLS. Could I then create a service that allows people to list their home on my website separately? Sure. That's what Zillow's done. And then combine those listings into the same tab? Yeah, that's what the DOJ forced them to do because of the lawsuit with Rex. So it sounds like a for sale by owner MLS feed, doesn't it? But it's rent. It's just rent. Just rent. That's all they're doing right now. How long until you people stop giving Zillow your money? All right, let's look at some economic news. Realtor _ Kimberly _ man with 2 N's says right now. Good. I mean, it's wild to me that we're not aware of what's happening and the test that they're doing right now with multifamily properties. Kimberly _ man _ Realtor _ Kimberly _ man says, I've been saying this forever. Yeah. It looks like it's coming to fruition now more than ever. They tried it initially with the iBuyer thing. We'll just buy your home. That didn't work. They lost a ton of money. Now they're like, you know what? If we could replace the MLS and we'll just have the listings go through us. People will input the listing and then it goes out to all of our other partners. Realtor.com, Redfin, just wait till homes.com joins the fray. Then what? Is your MLS valid then? No. Your MLS is now invalid. Come on, guys. Wake up. All right. Speaking of renters, 2025 could be a renter's market, but it won't last, economists say. We covered 2 articles last week that talked about the renter's market and how 2025 is going to be a big renter thing. Let me get to Kimberly's comment. She says, I don't pay them and they're going to be for sale by owner. They have been replacing realtors as an objective from the start, but they keep calling me conspiracy theories. Yeah. I mean, conspiracy theorists have been winning a lot. What's up, Braden? All right, let's go to this article. 2025 could be a renter's market, but it won't last. Last week, we covered 2 articles that talked about how 2025 would be a renter's market. This kind of follow-up article to that. Redfin chief economist Daryl Fairweather said, we're calling it a renter's market. We think it's going to continue for the next year. But a renter-friendly market is not forever. With construction activity and multifamily housing slowing down, renters markets might fizzle out after this year, experts say. This construction boom is probably going to be over and rents will probably be going up again. I think the construction boom for multifamily properties is already over. I think you have a lot of multifamily properties that are being finished right now, but there's a much lower rate of multifamily starts than there used to be. What's slowing down supply? We're seeing multifamily construction permitting slowing down a bit, said Joel Berner, senior economist at Realtor.com. There are several things behind this, with prices coming down. It's not economically viable. And we'll talk about tariffs and the tariff effect. And when is that? In a couple of articles this week. Well, he talks about it here, but we're gonna come back to that. So 3 key moves for renters: ask for a multi-year lease to lower your costs. If you plan to buy a home, start saving now. And then number 3, keep tabs on affordable markets elsewhere. This is what we used to see all the time. Like, people just move areas. Well, I can't afford to live in that area, so I'm just going to move cities or move states. And for some reason, people kind of feel like they're entitled to like a cheap house wherever they want to live. That just is not the case. I mean, real estate is going to go up. It's going to continue to go up. And the places where everyone wants to be, it's going to go up higher than most people can afford. And that's how you self-select who's going to live there and who's not. You're not entitled to cheap property where you are now. And back in the day, people would move. They would just go to another place. And that was normal. I think we'll see more of that now. Mortgage refi demand jumps to its highest level since October, but home builders pull back again. Home buyers pull back again. Mortgage rates move slightly lower. Refinance demand stayed high. Applications to refi jumped 10% compared with the previous week. Then mortgage rates moved slightly lower last week, which led to the pace of refinance applications reaching its strongest week since October 2024. Roughly 17% of homeowners with mortgage interest rates either at or above 6%, according to Redfin. That's the highest level since 2016. So normal, we've been talking about how much lower they are, but check that out. Roughly 17% of homeowners with a mortgage rate have interest rates higher or at 6%. Let's see, with rates now near 7%, however, there are still very few who can benefit from refi. Applications for a mortgage purchase a home declined, falling 2% for the week. Demand was 2% higher the same week 1 year ago. Potential buyers are still facing a pricey and lean market. What was the interest rate last year? I think it was a little lower than it is now, because I think in October, I want to say in October of 2023, it got up to 7%. In November, it was super high, and so that January it was coming down, and more people were jumping into the market. I could be wrong about that. Somebody can do a number crunch for me and see, or drop it in the comments. But I think that's correct. The average loan size for a purchase application increased to its highest level since March 2022 to $456,100, partially driven by fewer FHA purchase applications but more VA loans compared to the previous week. All right. What's that mean, though? If buyers are pulling back, more people are starting to, last week it was like 60 and 70 degrees here, and it was so nice. We had some beautiful days. And then this weekend, it got down to 30 again. And every time that happens, you have people like, hey, we're going to sell. And we have a lot of meetings get set up, and then it gets super cold. And then they say, well, we're going to wait a bit. And they want to wait till March every time. So we have the listings that are still there, though, that are coming out. Buyers have pulled back, but new listings post the biggest increase of the year while home buying demand declines, leading to a big pool of supply. On the buying side, pending sales have improved marginally since last month, but they're still down 8.1% year over year. The uptick in new listings and lack of sales is contributing to a growth of supply. There are several reasons would-be buyers are holding off. It's the rates. Listings are picking up as we inch towards spring, said Joe Palazzi, a Redfin Premier agent in Pittsburgh. He says homeowners have been holding off, waiting for mortgage rates to go down or market conditions to improve, and now it seems clear that rates have declined about as much as they're going to decline for now. Yeah, people are getting used to it. That's it. People are getting used to it. However, One of the big positives of buying now is that the typical home buyer pays roughly 2% less than the list price. That's the biggest discount in 2 years. You remember when people were bringing $40 and $50 and $100,000 over list price in order to lock it up and removing their inspection contingency and appraisal contingency? Yeah. Nope. Now they're buying it for about 2% less than asking. And it doesn't say if there's concessions included in that, but I would imagine that there are. The typical U.S. home is selling for 1.8% less than asking price. It's the biggest discount in nearly 2 years. The typical home sells is taking 56 days to go under contract. That's the longest span in nearly 5 years. And more than half, 56% of listings are sitting on the market for at least 60 days without going under contract. That's roughly the same as we saw during this time of year in 2023 and 2024. That's down from the prior month when 61% of listings were on the market for at least 60 days. Well, that was during the holidays too. That makes sense. All right, so here's an opportunity for buyers. Jump back in the market and buy a home less than list. What? Well, 17% of homeowners with the mortgage rates have an interest rate of at least 6%. Oh, we've already covered this. It was just tucked into another article. But here's a pretty chart. 83% of mortgage holders have an interest rate below 6%. And that's why it's tough. That's that lock-in effect that people are talking about. That's why it's tough to get people to buy right now. Oh, what's up, Jack? I see you over there in Clubhouse. All right, and 90% of markets saw home price gains in the fourth quarter. So prices are still going up. Ray, why are prices still going up when there's an increase in supply and rates are high? Because while there's an increase in supply, it's not that high. It's still not high enough to satisfy the demand. And home prices have always gone up. They will always go up. And there are only 2 times in history where they haven't gone up. And we lived through both of those times. And that's why our generation thinks that home prices go down. There's only 2 times in history where home prices went down. One, it went down negative 1.9%. Another time it went down 19%. I'll let you guess when that was. Otherwise, home prices have always gone up. There was fraud in the market, man. That's what caused it to crash last time. Realtor _ Kimberly _ man said, I like reading your username. Do you think that it's because sellers have adjusted and are overpricing, or because buyers are pulling back? I think a lot more sellers are pricing normally now. For a while, it was aspirational sales prices for sure. There were sellers that were out there getting some really wild ideas about what their home would sell for. We're seeing less of that and more of a feeling out of what the market's going to do and unsure of what the market is doing. That's what we're seeing. And it could just be my market, but that's what I'm seeing. Braden Flynn _ real estate says over on Instagram, in our market, the brokers just did a poll and the amount of income they're seeing from the new law about commission is roughly unchanged. Are you seeing the same in your area? Yeah. So personally, we're actually seeing more. We're actually making more money in this case. And that's because our clients have always had to sign an exclusive agreement with us. And they've always had to pick, do I want to pay Ray and all the work that they do for us? Or do I want to use this other real estate agent who said that they're free? And that was a tough choice. I'm doing the thumbs up. That was a tough choice for some people. And a lot of times they would pick the free agent, but most of the time they would pick to pay me, knowing the work that we do. Well, now that free agent over there has to tell everyone that he's not free and he has to come up with a value proposition for why they should have to pay them, it has allowed us to actually increase our fees, because now people see they were paying that guy. They didn't know they were paying that guy, but they were paying that guy. And now they're willing to pay for somebody that's actually going to work for them. So personally, we're seeing an increase here locally. I think it's relatively unchanged. And we talked about an article last week that said it was minimal. It was like 1/10 or 100% difference in what people were and what real estate agents were making. However, for the last 6 or 7 years, it has gone down a little bit. So Mia, what's up? Mia Zold with 2 L's .realtor. She said, no, really, if they wait until interest goes down, home prices will go up higher than the interest rate they are holding on to. Correct. Yes. Because of the limited supply if interest rates go down, home prices will necessarily go up, and it will likely increase more than the additional percent currently cost them. If they buy now, they can get a slight discount on the property, and if rates do go down in the future, they could always refi, saving them money and being in the house, so they're not rushing to find a home in that case. Oh, I'm gonna send a message. There. Per Taylor Hack. Thanks, Mia. All right. Let's see. Have we covered this one? 90% of markets saw home price gains. Yeah, I think we've covered it. Let me see if there's a good article. Here's the top 10 markets. The following metro areas posted the largest year-over-year gain. Jackson, Mississippi saw 28.7%. Peoria, Illinois, 19.6%. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Oh, interesting. 18.2%. Elmira, New York, 17.6%. Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, 17.6%. Is that how I say that, Olivier? FOND space DU space LAC.
Fond du Lac.
Fond du Lac, Wisconsin,
It's
17.6%.
bottom of the lake.
It's bottom of the lake. That's what it means. So bottom
Yeah.
of the lake, Wisconsin. That's a cool name. Now, who would know that Fond du Lac is bottom of the lake? Huh. Cleveland, Elria, Ohio is 16.4% increase. Bismarck, North Dakota, 15.8%. Akron, Ohio, 15.5%. Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Virginia, 15%. And then Canton, Massillon, Canton, Massillon, Ohio, 14.9%. So those were where the biggest price gains. If you're a real estate agent in those areas, I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what's happening in your area. So those metro areas posted the largest year-over-year median home price increase in the fourth quarter. The article goes on to talk about how housing affordability increased a little bit, which we've already hit some of those things. It also talks about the most affordable housing markets, but then it's got some wild prices on there. So let's just go to the next article. DOGE. DOGE has been in the news a lot lately. DOGE cutting costs expose risk. DOGE cost cutting exposes risk to cities with federal office space. What? While cities across the U.S. continue to struggle throughout the office market downturn, it has thrown future vitality of downtowns into question. Financial analysts are now warning that some cities are disproportionately at risk from the Department of Government Efficiency's real estate cost cutting. According to Barclays analyst, first reported $12 billion in real estate loans are tied to the commercial mortgage bonds at risk. DOGE government officials have said they were looking to right-size the federal government portfolio, more than 7,500 leases. Wow. That puts a handful of major cities at risk. Realtor _Kimberly _man says, we're in southeastern Wisconsin and we are booming. There you go. Government officials said they were looking to reduce the federal government's real estate footprint by as much as 50%. The cutting will focus largely on office space in cities that grapple with record high office vacancies. You know what I think is not going to be cut? These big, beautiful government buildings that we have, that's probably not going to change. The thing that's going to change are these government offices that we have inside of high rises and places that are just a whole bunch of desks and stuff shoved together that nobody goes into anymore because they're all working from home. Those offices are going to be closed. That's going to have a significant impact on the reduction of the federal real estate holdings for sure. In the past 6 days, the number of lease terminations, underutilized buildings, see, that's what I'm talking about, underutilized buildings, has increased from 3 to 22, with savings increase from, With savings increase from 1.6 million to 44.6 million. Wow. I mean, if they're wasting the money, they should not waste the money. That comes out of us, the taxpayers, right? Am I stupid in this? Even though they're paying some real estate guy that's holding the property, it's not a good idea to be renting office space that you're not using, even if it's the government. There's not a subsidy for landlords. And that could make it more affordable to other people to rent. You know, you have a lot of small businesses that would love a retail space downtown or a nice little office space downtown. But if it's all taken up with government buildings that are going to pay crazy amounts, then they can't compete with that. So now maybe it'll hit the market and they'll lower some of those prices. I'm interested to see what they sell. I don't know that they're going to sell much, but I'm interested to see what they're going to sell. All right, speaking of tariffs, were we speaking of tariffs? We were speaking of government. Let's take a look at the tariffs. So DOGE is out there cost cutting. A lot of people are behind the cost cutting. A lot of people are for it. A segment of people are not for it, which is interesting. It's interesting to hear politicians say, no, do not look at the numbers and cut waste. That's an interesting take. But a lot of people are not for tariffs. So namely builders, the NAHB came out and said, hey, there's 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. That's going to increase prices for stuff. And there's something missing on this article. And I sent word to Eric and Byron. I was like, hey guys, let me give you a quote in case you want to use it. They didn't use it. So now I'm going to expose their article and why it's not correct. What tariffs on steel and aluminum mean for builders and home buyers. I'm just going to cut to the quick. What it means for home buyers is basically nothing. What it means for home builders, basically nothing. What it means for builders is significant, but not home builders and not home buyers. This is what I mean. The amount of steel and aluminum in a single family residence is 1% to 0.5%. So a 25% increase on 1% of a home is not going to be significant. It's just not significant. Now, the amount of steel in commercial buildings and multifamily buildings is significant. So this is one of the contributing factors that could lead to a slowdown in multifamily, which could kind of stabilize maybe some of the multifamily rent pricing right now, and could also have some of those builders that have been building multifamily turn to single family. If they're not going to make as much, people aren't as interested because now you have some tariffs on steel and aluminum. Not to mention the purpose of the steel and aluminum tariff is so that people will stop ordering them from overseas and they will buy them locally. Trump said a long time ago that he would not put the tariffs on steel, and he would not put tariffs on stuff that we don't make here. So he wants you to order from the US and, you know, boost the US economy instead of ordering overseas. That's the point of the aluminum and steel. But the 25% tariff is not on wood. It's on steel and aluminum, which make up 1% to 0.5% of your home. It's just not going to be a significant increase to the home buyer. Originally, I found old articles that I got that information from, by the way, when other presidents have put tariffs on these products. And the reporters were like, oh, it's not going to really do anything to the home because there's not many homes are built with that. It's missing in most of the articles that you see today in which NAHB has come out and said, hey, we're against this because it's going to hurt builders. Yeah, it's going to hurt commercial and multifamily builders. It's not going to hurt single family builders and developers. Let's see. What's up, Brenda? Brenda says 52% of the lumber we get from Canada, according to the economists here in Austin. Yes, but there is no tariff on Canada currently because they secured the borders and are cutting down on fentanyl and are reorganizing the trade deficit. And they're at a 30-day stay every 30 days. On Monday, February 10th, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports. This comes on the heels of the discussion to pause tariffs on Mexico and Canadian goods until March 1st, giving temporary relief. Home builders fear that higher materials costs could slow down construction. Correct. Making homes even more expensive in an already challenging market. Incorrect. That's not correct. Builders fear, not home builders. Now, if this was on wood, it'd be a different story. If he said 25% tariff on wood, and you can't get that wood here locally very easily or at the similar per board foot price, then yeah, that may be more significant, but not on steel and aluminum. So all the articles that say home prices are going to go up because of this are flat out wrong. Maybe what's 25% of 1%? Maybe they'll go up that much. All right, I'm not going to read any more of this. They didn't include my quote. They should have included my quote so they'd have an accurate article. They didn't. So there. Here are the 10 most viewed online home listings in January. I thought this was interesting. I just kind of wanted to go through here. Let me open them all up really fast, and we're going to take a look at them. One of the common threads for all of these are really expensive listings. So this one's already pending. San Jose, California. Do you know the way? There's San Jose. This one is in Dublin, California. A lot of the Californian houses. What's crazy about this, like in Arkansas, this is 1.297 million in Dublin, California. In Arkansas, this would probably be 400K, maybe 500K. 2,200 square feet. It does have 5 beds, so maybe 400K. It'd be in an older neighborhood, but obviously remodeled to make it look gorgeous. It could be a little higher than that, but it's not going to be 1.2 million. Oh wait, you guys are not seeing this. Bam. All right, let me go back. There you go. This is the one in Dublin that I was just talking about. I'll go back again. This is the one in San Jose. So I just thought it was interesting to see what these had in common. These first two definitely like a mid-century look. And then check this one out. 544,000 in Fremont, California. I have to say that this what's probably a deal, because it's a townhome. Maybe this is a good deal. I don't know why a whole bunch of people there's nothing really spectacular about the outside of this. No offense, Gagan C, who has this listed. I just didn't think it was spectacular. Here's one in Bellevue, Washington. It was listed for $1,050,000, which everyone's going to tell you not to do, because the 50, this keeps you from that price bracket analysis where, some people, nobody searches from 800,000 to $1,050,000. They search from 800 to $1 million. And so a whole bunch of people did not see this, but yet it was still one of the most viewed homes in Bellevue, Washington. It's pending. And then we have, this one's still for sale. This one's really pretty. Look at this house. I love this. I love the way this one looks. It's a gorgeous home right on the coast. I mean, you just got ocean view from your house. It's got those doors that you can open up like the side of your home. I'm absolutely stunning. I'm loving this one. And it's listed at 24,500,000. 24,500,000. But man, look at that. It's just gorgeous. All right, here's another one. Now, this is an interesting starting photograph. It's listed at 3.3 million, and starting photograph is a pathway through a yard with bushes on the sides and one of those little concrete benches that my grandmother had in her yard. 3.3 million. I have to, what is, why is this the most viewed when that is your opening? You would think you'd need an outside front shot. The second, what is this? The second or third shot, maybe the fourth shot is the laundry. I mean, it's a really pretty house, but that's a wild marketing strategy from that agent. It's a bold move from that agent. Here's another one in Petaway, San Jose. It's a very, no offense, but average looking home, listed at 3.28 million. And how many? I think I have 3 left. This is another one that's like a split level mid-century. We have a lot of split levels in our area. Kimberly Man said, no, thanks. I don't want them. Mia says it's a bargain. No, none of these. 24 million. That's not a bargain. So this one is a split level home, which we have a lot of. And I like how they reshape the front, because our split levels the roof line comes down in the front, but I like this, how it goes up. So one of the reasons why I like to look at properties like this is to see what ideas that we can implement if we were to, remodel a house here. So I really like that idea. All right, and the last two, 28 Alma Court, Los Altos. Another, there's not even a second or third photo here. It's just sold. And then this is the last one here. 2110 Hanover in Palo Alto. So mostly all Californian. This one looks like it has that Drivet or ephes on the outside of it. Or maybe it's stucco. Okay, it's hard to tell. It looks like a very small home, 1,193 square feet. Beautiful on the inside, really pretty living area. It's got like a real pretty fence in the front, and it's got a garage back there in the back, it looks like, but 1,193 square feet for $2.2 million. What? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about, Super Bowl ads. What was your favorite? Drop in the comment. What was your favorite Super Bowl ad? There's something called Ad Meter that USA Today has that rates the ads. And I'm going to see if I can play. You know what? I'll probably have to let me reshare so that I can share the sound as well. Okay, good. Yeah, we got the sound. All right. So, y'all seen a lot of I kind of want to focus on the housing versions, but I'm going to kind of go through them. The number one they said was the Budweiser first delivery. I thought they missed a golden opportunity with this. It's a baby Clydesdale, basically, that the keg rolls off the back, and then the baby Clydesdale is rolling it to, he was too little to pull the carriage, so now he's rolling it to the bar where the guy's making the delivery. There should have been a pony keg joke in there somewhere. It's prime for it, and they should have had it. They didn't have it, but I thought that was a pretty good ad. Number two would be the little farmer. This is that girl that planted the potato and then grew the potato. Oh, that's really loud. Potato. They should have shown how she had more potatoes. Oh wait, it's not. Hang on. Sorry. They should have shown that she had more potatoes, because if you plant one potato and you get one potato, you really didn't do anything. You just stored a potato underground. So they really should have showed that she had several potatoes. I thought that was interesting. Then Willem Dafoe, the Ultra Hustle was number 3. It's a Michelob Ultra commercial. I like Willem Dafoe. I think he's funny. Then it was David and Dave, with David Beckham and Dave. His brother, his long lost brother. That was the premise. Twin brother we never told you about. Matt Damon was the long lost brother. It was good. All right, all the way down here, the NFL Somebody was fine. The Flag 50 by NFL was fine. Big Men on the Cul-de-sac was funny because it was Shane Gillis and Post Malone. I liked Matthew McConaughey's Uber Eats commercial because I like the Bears, and I thought his Ditka impersonation was kind of funny. His impersonation of, his impersonation of Peyton was hilarious. Then when Harry Met Sally, the Hellman's commercial, Pfizer knockout. That's kind of a weird, knowing that like some people got the jab and then faint. It's kind of a weird commercial. I like the premise. It was a cute commercial, but the Pfizer knockout commercial as being named, that's kind of not. Like, whoa, who approved that? Who approved that name? Doritos had the abduction. I don't remember this one. Hang on. Oh yeah, that's right. The alien abduction for the bag of Doritos. Pretty simple premise. Thought it was okay. The Jeep commercial with Harrison Ford was interesting. I really didn't get it. Like, he tried to have a low voice and talk about life and Oh, it doesn't come with an owner's manual. I thought it was a miss. Instacart, we're here, was interesting, had a bunch of brands. Google Dream Job, this is 14. We're still not at a housing ad. Dove, the legs commercial, that was cute. Your attention, I don't remember this one. This is Your Attention Please by Novartis. Oh, yeah, oh, that was, yes. Yeah, no. Okay. And then then there was the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism with Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady talking about how much they don't like each other and how it was dumb that they had to have a commercial for that. See you later, Kimberly. Coors Light, we're still at number 18, no housing commercial. If you remember, Homes had a really popular commercial last year. It was ranked in the top 10, I think it was. The Slow Monday with the Sloths, Goldilocks and the Three Trucks was kind of funny. Whatever Comes Your Way, WeatherTech, that was fine. Pringles, the mustaches was odd. The Little Caesars, whoa, was odd. Rocket, the first one is at number 23. The first one, he says, it's going to get booted off of YouTube. I'm playing them in such small bits that surely not. And also I'm adding commentary. So surely, I'm going to go fast through this one too. But Rocket was showing people living in different stages of life, going into a home. And now this one was significant because you see this clip right here where people are singing West Virginia Mountain Mama. The thing that happens at the end of this commercial was more significant than the commercial itself, because it was the first time in history that it included a sing-along in the stadium. And you could see like the next Take Me Home by Rocket. So what they went directly from that commercial into the stadium where they were playing West Virginia and people were singing along with the song. So it's the first time in history where they had done it. Whenever they originally pitched it, they thought the NFL was like, no, we're not going to do this. This is a terrible idea. But then Rocket continued to push for it. In 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, got approval for it. So whenever it cut back to the stadium and the announcers were quiet and everyone was singing West Virginia, that was part of their ad and their ad placement, which is pretty genius. I thought it was a great commercial. I don't have anything wrong with it. All right. So then we have the Mountain Dew and Booking.com and He Gets Us and Reese's and Ritz and Haagen-Dazs and NerdWallet and Nerds and Disney Plus and Duracell and Dunkin'. The Dunkin' commercial was pretty funny. And Hexclad Cookware and Liquid Death. And boom, our first Homes.com is at number 37. So they fell off a little bit. And the whole premise was we're not saying we're the best.
Because while true, you just can't say that legally.
So he said, why can't we say we're the best home shopping site? And the attorney that he's meeting with says, well, true, we can't say that. Which was interesting because wait, is that she then says it in Spanish.
What if we whispered it?
What if we whisper it? Homes.com is the best. Then Morgan Freeman says it. And then they have a follow-up ad so then there's 38, 39, and 40. The follow-up ad falls at number 40. And the follow-up ad starts with Morgan Freeman saying it. And then they come up with an idea at the end. Homes.com is the best.com. Now, that was it. That's all the housing commercials that there was. There was nothing else that had to do with lending or housing that even made the top 50. So it was pretty open for someone else to come do something amazing. I mean, I thought the Rocket commercial was really good. The Homes.com commercial, not the best.com. And I think everyone in the industry looks at the commercial and says, wait a minute, didn't y'all get in trouble for faking your numbers? Allegedly. And isn't that the reason why you got in trouble? Is because you were saying that more people visited your website last year when that was not necessarily accurate based on the data. And then the judge says, hey, you can't say that anymore. Was it that the reason? It wasn't because you were saying that we're the best. That's an opinion. It's because you were saying you were the most visited, or I don't know what the exact quote they were saying was, but you were using data differently. You're taking data from one source and using it differently from yours. So I actually thought this was a huge miss. I don't know that all the consumers maybe know the behind the scenes stuff, but real estate agents that saw this, that know the behind the scenes stuff, why would you bring this up? I mean, it's better. I thought the ads were better, showing like you guys going above and beyond, trying to, gather local information and present it to your website. I thought that was a better ad. That was funnier to see them in a helicopter trying to get information from locals and then putting it on their website. There was nothing wrong with that. I thought they could have expanded that take and showed people, using that information and showing up in the know. I mean, there's so many creative ways that you could say that you could use that. I mean, being number 3 is not bad. And you could love being number 3 and say, we're different. And here's how we're different. We actually care about the information that we put out. We actually want the data to be accurate. That's something you could fight about, accurate data. You could fight about saying, all these other websites are not consumer-faced websites. They're portals for real estate agents to make money. So they don't really care if the market is up-to-date information. They don't really care if the expired listing is taken off or if the property is already sold. They want you as a consumer to hit the button and inquire and get sent to an agent with a lead, and then they've done their job. We at homes.com don't do that. That would be a better ad, in my opinion, than the just the website talk and how the attorney said you can't say certain things, because those of us in the industry know why the attorney said you can't say things. So I don't know. I didn't like it. Love to hear your thoughts on it. What did you think was the best ad overall? And did you like the Rocket ad or the homes.com ad best? And if you didn't like one of them, what could they have done better? Because I'm always looking for good ads. Because you could take these ideas and run them locally. You could create your own ads locally from these good Super Bowl takes. So that's all I got. I know we went a little long. I almost hit the wrong button. All right. That's it for the show today. I will be back next week. If there's anything that we didn't cover this week that you're like, why didn't Ray talk about this news story that I've been seeing? Please send it to me. You can find me at Ray Zorback. That's RayZorback on Instagram. And I would love for you to DM me. Let me know that you listened to the show. If you made it this far in the show, especially, and or if you're listening to the podcast, please, this is your sign to reach out and say, hey, Ray, I listened to the show. So I thank you guys so much for joining us, and thanks for the live viewers and the discussion that we were able to have on YouTube and Instagram. I really appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.
Hey, Ray, I listened to the show.
Thanks, Jack.